day I got the bus, I was so thrilled. I wanted to fuel it with diesel, and I was coming down the main street in the village I live, Greenod, and there were literally dozens of children in the street, among them, of course, my own grandchildren, and all the children knew me, and I invited them to come onto the bus, and I took them a little ride. So I was away quite a long time getting the fuel, and when I got back to the village, the mothers and fathers were out in absolute terror, thinking that somebody had taken all their children, so that the village virtually was empty for a full hour, and nobody knew where they were. And so the analogy of the Pied Piper was perhaps appropriate. Children love it. They climb about the bus, they get into the cab and they hoot the horn and they ding the bell, and they just climb all over, and it's wonderful. I'm sure that if Stan were alive, he would be looking down at us and be pleased, a smile on his face at the activities in Ulverston.
We're going to go now. 1, 2, 3, roll your eggs.
The egg rolling is traditionally done at Easter time, Easter Monday, and it was done when Stan was a little boy, and we thought it was a good thing to continue the tradition. For some reason, comedians don't hold the respect that you perhaps get from authors and people like that, but I think that Stan Laurel was certainly a genius, and I think the townspeople of Ulverston should be proud that he was born here. Stan, as a little boy, played in this area. His father, in fact, had a theatre across the street. But at the rear of the house is a little wash house, which Stan used to get locked in when he was a naughty boy by his granddad. But he didn't mind too much because he used to stash away comics and matches and candles, and he kept up to date with his reading. In 1974, I had the plaque put on the house where Stan was born, and it all really started then. And then in 1985, I was mayor of the town for the second time, and I was very privileged that year to have a walkabout the town with Her Majesty the Queen. In a letter Stan wrote to a cousin here in Ulverston, he talked of shopping with his grandma on Market Street, and he said, "She used to buy me Beer's treacle toffee. It sure was good." This is the little shop here where he used to buy his treacle toffee. And there we are, the real stuff itself with Hoard Monument on the side. Beer's treacle toffee. Well, Stan, of course, as a young boy, used to fish along the canal here, a very pleasant place to fish. At this particular area, he often visited with his grandfather, and he fished regularly here. He didn't come back very often after he left to go to America, but he did come over to the United Kingdom with Laurel Hardy in 1933, and then, of course, he did the tours of the United Kingdom, 1947, 52 and 53. The day they were here, I wasn't available to be here. I would have loved to have met Laurel Hardy, but I never did. I can really remember the first film I saw of Laurel Hardy when I was 7 years old. A little cinema, and I remember very well Laurel Hardy had their feet in cement, and they were being pushed over a dock into water by two terrible gangsters. A film called Our Relation. As a child, it affected me, and I had this love for Laurel Hardy, and I felt, in a way, sorry for them. So it led me to start collecting Laurel Hardy pictures. And whenever I saw a press cutting or a feature or anything to do with Laurel Hardy, I used to cut it out of the magazine, paper, newspaper, whatever, and I just put it into a scrapbook. So when I started my museum, I already had a massive collection of Laurel Hardy material.
My most treasured items are in this showcase here. There's the treacle toffee tin and Stan's personal cocktail book, which was given by Stan to his valet, Jimmy Murphy. A lovely item here too is this plate, which is a Wedgwood plate. And a fun thing I have here is the lovely little purse that Stan used in Below Zero. I'd like to tell you about the Sons of the Desert, the Laurel and Hardy Appreciation Society, started in 1965 in New York by Jack McCabe. With the blessing of Stan Laurel, the name Sons of the Desert is now worldwide. We now have tents throughout the world. The Ulverston tent, by the way, is the Birthmarks 2 tent. And this is one of the shrines of Laurel and Hardy. People come from all over the world to see where Stan was born.
Well, I've had all sorts of occupations, but prior to the museum, I had an electrical workshop in the premises I have the museum in now. I repaired washing machines, but of course when that business really wasn't very profitable, I decided to more or less get out, and this is what I've finished doing, and I thoroughly enjoy every minute of the work I do. Well, this is where we traditionally have our celebration after the Laurel and Hardy Lookalike competition, which we hold here in Ulverston for Stan. And it's one of the lovely things that we do to keep alive the memory and love of Stan Laurel. When Stan was a little boy here in town, he used to have all sorts of children's games. There was one he used in a film called Fra Diavolo, the Easy Neasy Nosy. And the other thing, of course, was the finger wiggle, which he used to do in Ulverston with his Uncle John.
Thank you, boys. Where'll you be when I need you?
Right here.
Okay.
I told you not to make that last payment.
My dream, basically, is to be self-sufficient and self-financing within the museum and to tour the world with my bus and show Laurel and Hardy wherever I go. In the long run, the name of Stan Laurel will live forever.